The Weight of Small Things. Chapter 4. The Liberation. The student loan company called on a Thursday. "Mr. Reynolds, I'm calling about your overdue payment. I submitted forbearance paperwork 2 months ago. I'm not showing any forbearance request in our system. This again, this always. I have the confirmation email. I can forward it to you. Unfortunately, I can't accept email confirmations. You'll need to resubmit the request through our online portal." Marcus pulled up the portal on his laptop while she droned on about late fees and credit implications. He navigated to the forbearance section. "The portal says my forbearance is active through next March. Silence on the other end. Let me check with my supervisor." She put him on hold. 3 minutes passed. 4. Marcus used the time productively. He opened every link on the student loan website, generating server requests. He filled out contact forms with increasingly absurd questions. He started applications for programs he didn't qualify for, abandoning them at the final step. The representative came back. "I apologize, sir. There was an error in our system. Your forbearance is active. You don't owe anything at this time." "So, you called me to tell me I owe money that I don't actually owe. Again, I apologize for the confusion. How much time did you waste today calling people who don't actually owe you money?" "Sir, How many people did you stress out? How many people scrambled to find money they didn't actually need to pay? How many people have you terrified with threats about their credit scores when your own system was wrong?" "I understand your frustration, but do you? Do you really?" He hung up. Then he called back. Got a different representative. Pretended to be confused about his forbearance status. Let them explain the whole process. Asked clarifying questions. Transferred between departments. Spent 45 minutes of their time asking questions he already knew the answers to. When he finally hung up, he felt electric, alive. They'd wasted his time for months. This was just balancing the scales. The grocery store had started checking receipts at the exit, a new policy, presumably to prevent theft. A bored employee stood by the door, half-heartedly glancing at receipts as people walked past. Marcus had 8 items, all paid for, but when the employee held out his hand for the receipt, Marcus paused. "Why?" The employee blinked. "Store policy, sir." "Am I being accused of stealing?" "No, it's just—" "Then you don't need to see my receipt." Sir, everyone has to do it." "Show me the law that says I have to show you my receipt after I've already purchased these items." Sir, other customers were staring now. The employee looked uncomfortable. "It's just store policy." "Policy isn't law. I've paid for these items. They're mine now. You have no legal right to detain me or search my property without probable cause." This was true. Marcus had looked it up. The employee's face reddened. "I'm just doing my job." Then do it better." Marcus walked past him, heart pounding, items clutched in his arms. No one stopped him. No one could. He'd done nothing wrong, and he'd made them acknowledge it. In his car, hands shaking with adrenaline, he laughed, really laughed. For the first time in months, the phone calls became a game. When customer service representatives asked for his account number, he'd recite it wrong, slightly wrong, one digit off. Let them tell him it was incorrect. Apologize. Recite it correctly. Wait for them to pull it up. When they offered to help him, he'd accept, then interrupt with unrelated questions. Actually, before we discuss that, can you explain your company's privacy policy? I'm particularly interested in Section 4.3.2. He'd request supervisors for no reason, put people on hold while he looked for documents he already had, asked to have things explained multiple times, slightly differently each time. It wasn't about solving problems anymore. The problems were unsolvable, deliberately designed to remain just complicated enough that you'd give up. So Marcus stopped trying to solve them and started creating new ones. Small, heady, time-consuming. Every minute a representative spent with him was a minute they couldn't spend harassing someone else. Every form he submitted incorrectly on purpose was one more piece of administrative debris clogging their system. He was no longer a victim. He was sand in the gears. At the pharmacy when they told him his medication wasn't ready because they needed prior authorization from his insurance, the same insurance that had already authorized it, the same medication he'd been taking for 6 months. Marcus smiled. No problem. How long will that take? Usually 3 to 5 business days. And if I need it today, you can pay out of pocket. Oh, how much? $340. Marcus nodded thoughtfully. Let me think about it, or... He left without the medication, went home, called his insurance company, spent 30 minutes getting transferred to the right department, spent another 20 confirming what he already knew. The authorization was active, had been active, would remain active, got the reference number, called the pharmacy back. Hi, I was just there asking about my prescription. You said it needed prior authorization. Yes, we're still waiting on that. I just called my insurance. The authorization is active. Reference number is, he recited it. Let me check on that. 5 minutes on hold. You're right, sir. I apologize. It's ready for pickup. Great. I'll be there in 30 minutes. He didn't go for 3 days. Each day, they called. Each day he said he'd be there soon. On the 3rd day, when they called to say they'd be returning it to stock if he didn't pick it up, he arrived exactly 15 minutes before the deadline. The pharmacist looked exhausted. Marcus smiled. Sorry for the wait. You know how it is. Things have been really busy. The empowerment grew, metastasized. What had started as petty resistance became routine. When websites made him create an account to access basic information, he created accounts with fake information, nonsense addresses, email addresses that didn't exist, phone numbers with the wrong number of digits. When surveys popped up asking about his experience, he filled them out with maximum-length responses that said nothing useful. Walls of text that technically answered the questions but wasted the time of whoever had to read them. When apps asked him to rate his experience, he left 1-star reviews that were actually 5-star reviews written sarcastically. 3 paragraphs about how amazing it was to need 17 clicks to change a password. At work, when Brad returned from his 2-week vacation and tried to make small talk, Marcus was polite, friendly even. But when Brad asked to borrow his phone charger, Marcus said, "Oh, sorry. I actually need it right now." He didn't. But watching Brad's face fall, watching him have to go back to his desk and root through his drawer for his own charger, it felt good. When Stephanie from HR sent an all-staff email about maintaining a positive workplace culture, Marcus hit reply all with a single word: noted. 43 people had to see that email. 43 people had their day interrupted by a notification that added zero value, 43 moments of minor annoyance rippling out like waves. Marcus imagined them all, reaching for their phones, seeing the notification, reading his pointless response, feeling that little spike of irritation. Good. Welcome to his world. The control was intoxicating. For months, years, maybe, Marcus had been a passive recipient of the world's casual cruelty. Every system designed to frustrate. Every policy crafted to make simple things complicated. Every representative reading from a script that assumed he was either stupid or dishonest. But now he was fighting back, not with violence, not with anything that would get him in real trouble. Just friction. Strategic, deliberate friction. If the world insisted on making everything harder than it needed to be, Marcus would return the favor. And the beautiful part, he was always technically right. Always following the letter of the law, if not the spirit. Always polite, if not helpful. Always within his rights. Even if those rights made other people's jobs more difficult. He wasn't breaking rules. He was using them. At night, working on his app. When he could find the energy. Marcus felt lighter. The code came easier. Not because anything had changed in his circumstances. The bills were still unpaid. The insurance company was still denying claims. His landlord was still raising rent. But now when they called, when they demanded his time and energy and patience, Marcus had something they didn't expect. He had all the time in the world, and he was learning to enjoy wasting theirs.